Hi everyone, it's Wendy, and today I'll be reviewing a functional metal drawing tool. So when I first saw this product, I was really drawn to its sleek design, which to me looked like a modern version of the traditional compass, protractor, and ruler all in one. So I was really excited to get my hands on this, and I'm going to share with you in this video my thoughts and experience with it, and also let you know whether it is worth the money or not. So this product comes in a silver metal tin, and there are a couple of different variations of this product. So depending on which particular set you have, you may have slightly different components to what I have here. So for the miscellaneous accessories that comes with it, I have a small metal disc with some cutouts on it. It also comes with a spare adhesive. This is the double-sided tape that sticks the center part of the tool to your paper to hold it in place while you're drawing the circles, and I can also see this being adhered to multiple surfaces other than just paper. It also comes with this pamphlet, which I really recommend you holding on to because it does show you other ways to use this product which I would never have thought of myself had I not read it. So now onto the main product itself. In my box I have 3 separate components, but the number of components you get is actually dependent on which version of the product you purchase. So you'll see there is a space for another component which did not come in my version of the tool. And so in my version, I have 2 small ruler-like parts, which are the arms, and a circular disc, which these arms will then attach to. So the main component has a very minimalist design. As you can see, it has 360 degrees marked out along the circumference to help you draw arcs of different angles. And one thing I didn't notice originally was these little shapes scattered along the disc. So if you look closely, these are star shapes and hexagonals, and these little markings actually help you to draw these particular shapes as they mark out where the corners of these shapes should be. However, ironically, these little triangular shapes don't actually help you draw triangles, they actually help you to draw ellipses, which I will show you later. So the edges of the centerpiece is a very smooth metal material, which attracts the magnets that are housed in the arms, and you can see once it's been attached how smoothly and effortlessly it glides along, and this will help you to draw a smooth circle. So at the bottom there is a double-sided sticky tape which helps the centerpiece to stay stabilized to the paper when you're drawing the circle. So you do need to peel off that protective layer first to reveal the double-sided tape before putting it onto your paper. So one thing I do want to point out is that if you are using this tool on paper, then personally I think this adhesive is too sticky for paper, so I would recommend reducing the strength of that adhesive first by sticking it to your clothes a few times before placing it on the paper. I didn't do this and I will show you a clip of what happened. However, if you are drawing circles with this tool on other surfaces like wood, then this adhesive is perfect for that. So the process of using this tool is quite simple. Just place the little centerpiece on your paper, attach one of the arms, and then using a pencil, choose one of the holes you want to use, depending on how big you want the circle to be, and then just sliding the arm with the pencil, you'll create a perfect circle. So here I want to show you exactly how sticky this adhesive is, and earlier when I mentioned that I regretted not reducing the strength of that adhesive first, here you can see I'm really struggling to get that centerpiece off the paper, and I was a bit worried that I would rip the paper in the process, but keeping in mind that the paper I'm using is pretty low GSM printer paper, so if you are using a thicker paper or a cardstock, then you might not have as much issue as I did with the thinner GSM printer paper. But if you are a bit of a perfectionist and you want everything to stay a bit perfect and uncrinkled, then I do recommend you firstly sticking it to your clothes first before it goes onto the paper. So one thing I really appreciate about this tool is that the design has a lot of attention to detail and precision. So as you can see, there is a little peephole in the center of this piece. And if you want to be super accurate with your circle placement, you can simply draw a dot on your paper with pencil first and use this hole to see where that dot is and align its placement directly above before drawing your circle. So next I want to talk about the types of pencils and pens that you can use with this tool. So if you are using a pencil, the lead thickness is going to be quite important. If your pencil is blunt or the lead is too thick, then you won't be able to fit it into the width of the hole. So I would recommend keeping your lead sharpened in order to produce a smooth and continuous line. So next I want to show you how to draw an ellipsis with this, because for me personally it was definitely not as intuitive as drawing a circle, and here you can see me really struggling to get it to move. It just kept getting stuck in certain places, and it took me a bit of trial and error to finally figure out how to draw the oval. But of course, this was all in the instruction manual, and totally my fault for not referring to it first. But if you're anything like me and you're not a big fan of reading instruction manuals, I'm going to show you in the next 10 seconds how to set up your parts to draw the ellipsis. So firstly, you want to flip over one of your parts and then align them like this and click it into place. Next, in the centerpiece, make sure you slide this little knob to the center and that the other knob is aligned to one of the triangles. Then taking the arm that's been flipped over, just line it up with the holes until both of them fit into place. And now you're all set up to draw an ellipsis. I actually found it quite addictive and therapeutic to use this tool, and here I'm drawing more ovals with a ballpoint pen this time, and the experience also felt a lot smoother with a ballpoint pen because the tip of the pen glides across the paper more smoothly than a pencil or a fine tip pen. Now, if you do need to draw a circle that is smaller than the circumference of that centerpiece, there is a way that you can do this, but it is a little bit more fiddly. So you can do this by using just the small arm and two pencils, or I have two pens here in this case. One will act as the anchor and the other will spin the arm and do the drawing. However, from my experience, this is a little less foolproof, and there are two things you'll need to be aware of when drawing this. So number one is that if the pen you use is much smaller than the hole on the arm, your pen could move around in the hole during the process, which could result in double lines like this circle I've just drawn here. So you really do need to keep the tension the same throughout the drawing process to avoid this. So it does take a little bit of practice to get used to. And number two is that it's definitely much harder to keep the paper steady without the heavier centerpiece, so your paper may have a tendency to move around on the table. So to overcome this, I would recommend sticking your paper down to the table with some sticky tape on the corners to hold it in place. So finally, the question of, do I think this is worth the price? And I would say the answer really depends on how often do you draw precise geometric shapes and lines, and how often are you currently using a compass, protractor, and a ruler. And if your answer is often, then I think you would really enjoy working with this tool. It really does more than a compass, protractor, and a ruler combined, and there are a lot of other elements built into this design, which has a lot of convenience and precision in mind, which I think people who do draw a lot of geometric drawings would appreciate. Also keep in mind that I haven't covered everything that this tool can do in this video, and I also don't have the fourth component that was not in the version of the product I have. But if you're not someone who draws a lot of geometric shapes, then I'm not sure how much use you'll get out of this product. So that wraps up my thoughts on the Xicon drawing tool. I hope you found this useful, and I'll talk to you soon in the next video. Bye!